What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're fascinated by ancient warrior cultures like I am, you're going to love today's video. We're exploring something most people never think about. What did samurai actually eat before potentially their last battle? This isn't just about food. It's about psychology, strategy, and survival. We'll uncover the spiritual significance behind their meals, the practical nutrition that kept them fighting, and some absolutely wild pre-battle rituals involving food that Hollywood never shows you. So grab your favorite snack and let's journey back to medieval Japan. Before we dive into the actual foods, we need to understand something crucial. For samurai, eating before battle wasn't just about filling their stomachs. It was a sacred ritual. These warriors followed a strict code called Bushido, which governed every aspect of their lives, including what and how they ate. The concept of death before dishonor meant that every pre-battle meal could literally be their last. This created an incredible psychological weight around food choices. Samurai believed that the purity of their final meal would affect their spirit in the afterlife. If they died honorably in battle, they wanted to enter the next world with a clean body and pure intentions. Many samurai practiced a ritual called death meditation while eating their pre-battle meal. They would contemplate their mortality, accept their possible death, and focus their mind entirely on the upcoming fight. This wasn't morbid, it was liberating. By accepting death, they could fight without fear. The timing was also crucial. Most samurai ate their final meal at dawn, just as the sun rose. This wasn't coincidence. Sunrise represented new beginnings, hope, and the favor of the gods. They believed eating as the world awakened would give them spiritual strength. Tea ceremony principles heavily influenced these meals. Everything had to be perfect, the presentation, the timing, even the way they held their chopsticks. This attention to detail helped calm their nerves and center their minds before the chaos of battle. Now let's get to the actual food. The foundation of every samurai pre-battle meal was rice, but not just any rice. They ate a special preparation called kachi meshi, or victory rice. This was short-grain white rice, perfectly steamed and formed into small, compact balls that could be eaten quickly. The rice had to be absolutely pure white. Any discoloration was considered a bad omen. They often mixed in a tiny amount of salt, not for flavor, but because salt was believed to purify the body and ward off evil spirits. Some samurai added red beans, creating a dish called sekihan, which was traditionally eaten during celebrations. The red color symbolized life force and vitality. Fish was the second pillar of the pre-battle diet, but again, not randomly chosen. Dried bonito flakes called katsuobushi were extremely popular because the word katsu means to win in Japanese. The samurai weren't taking any chances with their wordplay. They wanted every element of their meal to reinforce victory. Salmon was also prized, particularly during autumn battles. The fish's journey upstream to spawn represented determination and the willingness to overcome impossible odds. Samurai would often eat grilled salmon while contemplating their own uphill battle ahead. Sea bream, called tai, was considered the most auspicious fish because its name sounds like meditai, meaning congratulations or good fortune. Wealthy samurai lords would often provide sea bream to their warriors before major engagements. Seaweed played a fascinating role. Kelp, or kombu, wasn't just nutritious, its name sounds like yorikobu, meaning to rejoice. Samurai believed eating kelp would ensure they'd have reason to celebrate after the battle. They often wrapped their rice balls in sheets of nori seaweed, creating an early version of what we now call onigiri. Vegetables were chosen with equal care. Bamboo shoots represented strength and flexibility, qualities every warrior needed. The bamboo's ability to bend without breaking in strong winds made it a powerful symbol for samurai, who needed to adapt quickly in battle while maintaining their core strength. Radishes were popular because they were believed to aid digestion and keep the warrior's stomach settled during the stress of combat. Nothing worse than stomach problems when you're trying to swing a sword. They were usually pickled, which also provided probiotics for gut health. Japan's diverse geography created fascinating regional differences in pre-battle meals. In northern regions like Tohoku, where winters were harsh and battles often fought in snow, samurai ate heartier, warming foods. Northern warriors favored miso soup with chunks of salmon and mountain vegetables. The warm soup helped regulate body temperature, crucial when wearing metal armor in freezing conditions. They also ate more preserved foods, dried persimmons, pickled vegetables, and fermented soybeans because fresh ingredients were scarce during winter campaigns. In contrast, southern samurai from regions like Kyushu had access to different ingredients. They incorporated more tropical elements, sweet potatoes, which provided sustained energy, and various subtropical fruits that were believed to keep the blood cool during hot summer battles. Coastal samurai naturally ate more seafood. Warriors from fishing communities had access to fresh catches that inland samurai could only dream of. They developed elaborate ways of preparing fish that were both nutritious and symbolically powerful. Mountain samurai had their own traditions. Living in regions where Buddhism was strong, many followed semi-vegetarian diets. They ate more nuts, wild vegetables, and mountain herbs. These foods were believed to enhance mental clarity and spiritual connection, crucial for warriors who saw battle as a form of meditation. The island warriors of Shikoku developed unique fermentation techniques. They created special pickled vegetables that could last for weeks without spoiling, perfect for extended military campaigns where fresh food was impossible to obtain. Just as important as what samurai ate was what they absolutely refused to eat before battle. These food taboos reveal incredible insights into their mindset and beliefs. Beef was completely forbidden, not just before battle, but in daily life for most samurai. Buddhism taught that killing four-legged animals created bad karma, and samurai believed eating beef would make them spiritually impure. They thought it would weaken their connection to their ancestors and the gods who protected them in battle. Chicken was also avoided by many samurai, but for a different reason. Chickens were associated with cowardice because they run away from fights. No samurai wanted to risk absorbing any cowardly characteristics before facing death in combat. Certain vegetables were taboo too. Onions and garlic were forbidden because their strong smell was considered impure and would interfere with the samurai's ability to commune with spirits. These foods were thought to cloud the mind and reduce spiritual sensitivity. Alcohol before battle was strictly prohibited for most samurai. While they might drink sake during celebrations, consuming alcohol before combat was seen as dishonorable and dangerous. A drunk warrior couldn't make split-second decisions that meant life or death. Some regions had specific taboos based on local beliefs. In areas where fox spirits were feared, samurai avoided foods associated with foxes. In mountain regions, they wouldn't eat foods that were the same color as autumn leaves, believing it would make them as fragile as fallen foliage. Here's where it gets really interesting. Samurai didn't just use food to prepare themselves. They used it as psychological warfare against their enemies. Before major battles, samurai commanders would sometimes arrange elaborate outdoor feasts in full view of the enemy. Picture this: while the opposing army sits hungry and nervous, the samurai are calmly enjoying perfectly prepared meals, drinking tea, and even composing poetry. This wasn't showing off, it was calculated intimidation. The message was clear: we're so confident in our victory that we're having a picnic before we destroy you. This psychological tactic often worked better than actual weapons, causing enemy morale to crumble before the fighting even began. Some samurai took this further by deliberately eating foods that were difficult to obtain or prepare. If they could casually consume expensive delicacies before battle, it demonstrated their wealth, preparation, and confidence. Poor enemies would realize they were facing not just skilled warriors, but well-supplied and organized forces. There were also mind games involving the speed of eating. Some samurai would eat extremely slowly and deliberately, showing they had all the time in the world. Others would eat quickly and efficiently, demonstrating their eagerness for battle. Both approaches were designed to unnerve opponents. The most extreme form was the death feast, a ritual where samurai would eat what they claimed was their funeral meal. They'd consume foods typically reserved for honoring the dead, essentially telling their enemies, "I'm already dead, so I have nothing to fear." This level of psychological commitment was terrifying to face. Not every battle allowed time for elaborate pre-combat meals. Samurai developed ingenious portable foods for surprise attacks, extended campaigns, and emergency situations. The most famous was Hyoro, concentrated emergency rations that could sustain a warrior for days. These were made from rice flour, dried fish, seaweed, and salt, all compressed into small, dense cakes. One small piece could provide hours of energy, and they never spoiled. Samurai also carried umeboshi, pickled plums that served multiple purposes. The extreme sourness helped fight fatigue and nausea. The salt content prevented dehydration, and the citric acid killed harmful bacteria in their mouth and stomach. Plus, the intense flavor could shock a tired warrior back to alertness. Dried persimmons were another favorite. They provided quick sugar for energy, were lightweight, and the sweetness was psychologically comforting during stressful situations. Many samurai considered them good luck charms as much as food. For longer campaigns, they developed portable miso paste. This fermented soybean paste could be mixed with hot water to create instant soup, providing protein, probiotics, and warm comfort. It was like ancient instant ramen, but much more nutritious. Some innovative samurai created early energy bars from nuts, dried fruits, and honey. These were incredibly calorie-dense and could be eaten quickly while riding or even during brief breaks in combat. The actual process of eating the pre-battle meal was as important as the food itself. This wasn't casual dining, it was a sacred ceremony with specific steps and meanings. First, samurai would purify themselves by washing their hands and mouth with clean water. This wasn't just hygiene, it was spiritual cleansing. They believed impure hands would contaminate the food and weaken its power. The meal was eaten in complete silence. No conversation, no distractions, just focused attention on each bite. This meditative eating helped center their minds and connect them to the spiritual energy of the food. Each type of food was consumed in a specific order. Rice always came first, as it was the foundation of life. Fish followed, representing the warrior's journey. Vegetables were last, connecting them to the earth they were about to defend. The final bite was the most crucial moment. This last taste would stay with them into battle, possibly into death. Many samurai chose this final bite carefully, often a small piece of pickled plum or a grain of rice with salt. It had to be pure, clean, and spiritually significant. After finishing, they would sit in meditation for several minutes, allowing the food to settle and their minds to focus completely on the upcoming battle. This wasn't prayer in the Western sense, but a moment of complete mental preparation. Some samurai had personal rituals around this final meal. Famous warrior Miyamoto Musashi was known to eat exactly 7 grains of rice, no more, no less. Others would leave 1 bite uneaten as an offering to their ancestors. Believe it or not, these ancient samurai eating practices influence Japanese culture even today. Modern Japanese athletes often follow modified versions of pre-competition eating rituals, focusing on pure, simple foods and mindful consumption. The concept of Ichigo Ichie, one time, one meeting, comes from this tradition. It means treating each meal, each moment, as unique and potentially your last. This philosophy still shapes how many Japanese people approach food and life. Onigiri rice balls, now sold in every convenience store in Japan, directly descend from samurai battle rations. The triangular shape, the seaweed wrapping, even the small amount of salt, it's all based on what warriors ate before risking their lives. The Japanese tea ceremony also preserves elements of samurai pre-battle rituals. The careful attention to each movement, the focus on purity and perfection, the meditative quality, these all come from warrior traditions around food and drink. Modern martial arts schools sometimes incorporate traditional pre-competition meals based on samurai practices. Students learn not just fighting techniques, but the mental preparation that goes with them, including proper nutrition and mindful eating. Even in modern Japanese business culture, important meetings often begin with carefully prepared meals eaten in specific ways. The attention to detail, the respect for ingredients, the belief that shared food creates harmony, these concepts trace directly back to samurai traditions. So there you have it, the fascinating world of samurai pre-battle nutrition. These weren't just meals, they were complex rituals combining practical nutrition, psychological preparation, spiritual beliefs, and even warfare tactics. From the symbolic victory rice to the purifying salt, from the forbidden beef to the emergency battle rations, every element was chosen with purpose. These warriors understood something we're only now rediscovering, that what we eat affects not just our bodies, but our minds and spirits. The next time you eat before an important event, a job interview, a big game, an exam, think about the samurai. Consider not just what you're putting in your body, but how you're preparing your mind. Maybe eat a little more mindfully, with more intention and focus. What did you find most surprising about samurai eating habits? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed diving deep into this hidden aspect of samurai culture, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the upcoming content.